had to win today at Utah if the Aztecs had any hopes of winning the WAC. They did win with a great comeback. We go to Salt Lake City, where it was windy. Al Luganville had his mind on the game. His team down 21-10 in the fourth quarter. That's when David Lowry hit Larry Maxey to cut the score to 21-16. They missed the extra point. Then, later, Lowry to T.C. Wright. Nice block by Wayne Pittman, and Aztecs had the lead. They made a two-point conversion to make it 24-21. Utah had one last chance to beat San Diego State, but nice defense on a dog pile down low. Four guys landed up in the same place. Pass was incomplete, and State wins it 24-21. The final score, and the Aztecs are still alive for the WAC title.
At the stadium just minutes ago, and what a ball game it was. You have to give the Chargers credit. While the other teams on the bottom rung of the NFL ladder have given up for the year, the Chargers have continued to play hard, and today was no exception. Coming into the game, the Chargers had nothing to gain. The playoffs and even another 6-10 season were already out of their grasp. The Dolphins, on the other hand, needed a win to get into the playoffs, but they wouldn't get it. To the stadium we go for the highlights. Early on, Dan Marino was clicking. Threw 5 completions in a row, Kellen. He was on fire.
I mean, Dan just came out. He was doing very well early in the game. Had a little trouble later in the ballgame, as we'll see.
Then, after a few of these completions, he finally goes into the end zone. Sammy Seal breaks it up. Pete Stoyanovich kicks a 34-yard field goal, 3-0 Miami. John Freeze to Nate Lewis is going to catch it, right? Nope, he's going to drop it. And then Freeze overthrows Craig McEwen, who was wide open.
He is so wide open. The ball just kind of sailed on John a little bit.
Field goal, John Carney, 35 yards, ties it up. Then Marino scrambles into the end zone. He runs.
He runs. I mean, this is surprising a lot of people, and that's a pretty good linebacker. He outran there, and Junior Seau to the touchdown.
So the Dolphins were back in front. The fumble here, key play, though. The Chargers recovered. Then on the draw, it's Ronnie Harmon, 35 yards, deep into Miami territory. And on the next play, John Freeze, a very poised John Freeze, finds McEwen for the touchdown.
The same play we saw John overthrow earlier is the same play to the other side of the field in a similar situation. He gets the ball down this time for the touchdown.
10-10 at the half, onto the third quarter. Marino to Tony Page, touchdown.
Tony Page right here on Gary Plummer, just beat Plummer in his own coverage.
Missed extra point, though, by Miami. So it was 16-10. But they got the ball right back, and Marino did his thing again. This time, he goes to Mark Clayton, 10 yards, and it's 23-10. And then here comes the comeback. Freeze to Ronnie Harmon, 35 yards, touchdown.
John Freeze makes an excellent throw. He gets the ball right on the money. Harmon gets a good corner route coming out of the backfield.
Then the defense tunes up. They finally got to Marino. Leslie O'Neal with the sack, the fumble, and Joe Phillips recovers. A few plays later, Rod Bernstein, 5 yards out, touchdown. The Chargers lead it by 1. Marino back to pass, and this time Stanley Richards there.
Marino's going to flush out the pocket here, trying to make a good throw, but doesn't have enough to get it on. He throws across his body, and Stanley just steps in front of it.
Now, the Chargers were faced with a key 3rd and 18 right here when Freeze came up with a huge play to Sean Jefferson. He hasn't done much all season, but he did there. Then it's Bernstein from a yard out for a touchdown. The Chargers were up by 8, but the Dolphins came back. Marino to Clayton. It's San Diego by 1, but here's the play that really put it on ice. Rod Bernstein around left end, 60 yards for a touchdown to win it.
He picks up a good block from his outside linebacker, tight end, Derek Walker, and just outruns the secondary. I thought there was going to be holding call on that play.
Boy, no one laid a glove on him. 38-30 the final. The Chargers upset the Miami Dolphins. Key win.
It was a situation where, the running backs we were talking about, they're going to be blitzing over on the sideline. So if we get through the initial line of scrimmage, this could be pay dirt. So I saw the block by McEwen, also saw the block by Walker, and I turned up, and it was nothing in front of me but green grass.
Yeah, you've had a dandy year. You had that little break where you hurt the back and you missed a few games. But the satisfaction for you to make the statement that you've made this year, that your career is where it is, no apologies to anybody, forget the stuff about you not being tough enough or you being hurt and that kind of stuff. You get the job done.
When I'm put in the situation to make plays, I think I've continued to make them. I'm doing a good job, and, I have to attribute a lot of that to the offensive line. But, it's one of those things where if you give an opportunity to make a play, I think I can make it.
Talk about your quarterback real quick. He's in control, isn't he?
Definitely. He's coming along. He was a little shaky at the beginning of the season, but since I think about Game 5, he's come made long strides for us.
Congratulations. Another great win.
Thanks, Jim.
Hey, Rod, let me ask you one thing. Do you get the feeling that the team is playing to try and save their head coach?
That's interesting, Stoney, if that's the motivation, or it's just the fact that this is the only way they know how to play. And it's the only way Dan Henning has coached them to play. And think back to his first year in the job. They played hard in the final week of the season. This is his second year in the job. They played hard till the final week of the season, and that's what they're doing this year. A lot of young guys. Hey, at one point, you have Sean Jefferson at wide receiver, and you have, another Yancey Thigpen playing his first game at wide receiver, and John Freeze, a second-year quarterback, running the show. You're talking a young team, and I don't think they know any better than to just go out and play hard, whatever the motivation is.